Hello and welcome in, everyone. I'm Lauren, and this is the Beltline Brain Buzz, your ultimate theater trivia game. These games drop weekly, so be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a video or a game night. Tonight's category is Sondheim. Your categories are in the movies, somewhere, Chroma Luma, old friends, and numbers. Let's start with in the movies for 200. Sondheim wrote two songs, Little Dream and It Takes All Kinds, for this 1996 film, of which only a snippet of Little Dream can be heard. A movie favorite of mine, The Birdcage, starring Nathan Lane and Robin Williams. In the movies for 400, here's your next clue in the movie category. Sondheim wrote the screenplay of this 1973 film with his pal Anthony Perkins.
That was the last of Sheila.
It was indeed The Last of Sheila, which went on to inspire the Knives Out series. Next up, in the movies for 600. Madonna performed this Sondheim song at the 1991 Academy Awards ceremony. The song also earned the Best Song at that Academy Awards, and it was Sooner or Later from Dick Tracy. In the movies for 800. Sondheim wrote a brand new song titled She'll Be Back for this 2014 film. The song was ultimately cut. If you guessed Into the Woods, you were correct. The song was written for Meryl Streep, and you can hear the song by the witch herself, Meryl Streep, on the soundtrack for the film. And the final question in this category, Here We Are, which was posthumously recorded off Broadway. Here We Are, which was posthumously produced off Broadway in 2023 at the Shed, was inspired by these two Louis Buñuel films. If you guessed The Discreet Charm of the Bourgeoisie and The Exterminating Angel, you were correct. So, how are you doing so far? Let's move on to the numbers category. Which Sondheim musical has played the most performances on Broadway, including the 5 revivals? If you guessed Gypsy, with over 2,455 regular performances, you are correct. This includes the original Broadway production and all 5 revivals, including the most recent revival with Audra McDonald. Numbers for 4. This 1964 Sondheim production is notable for closing after only 9 performances. Name the show. If you guessed Anyone Can Whistle, you are correct. Numbers for 600. How many Grammy Awards did Sondheim win? Sondheim earned 8 Grammy Awards during his lifetime. Numbers for 800. Amy's rambling list of wedding gifts increases by this same amount with each item.
If it's funnier to go and watch a funeral, so thank you for the 27 dinner plates, the 37 butter knives, the 47 paperweights, the 57 candles.
One more thing.
If you said 10, you know your company lyrics. That is from Not Getting Married Today from Company. And the final numbers category question. On July 8th, 1968, New York Magazine published this numeric cryptic puzzle long before Skrilla made it popular. If you said sixes and sevens, you are correct. It is one of the 42 cryptic puzzles that Sondheim created for New York Magazine. All right, here is the old friends category for two. Sondheim penned this 1996 play with longtime collaborator George Firth. It closed after only 17 regular performances. It was called Getting Away with Murder. It was not a musical, it was a straight play, and needless to say, not very successful. All right, old friends for four. A 1965 Sondheim parlor game inspired this playwright to pen Sleuth, which won the 1971 Tony Award for Best Play. That was his friend Anthony Schaefer, playwright Anthony Schaefer. Old friends for six. He set Sondheim on a course of study to write four musicals. One, an adaptation of a play Sondheim admired. Two, an adaptation of a play he liked but felt could be improved. Three, a musical based on a novel or short story or stories. For this, Sondheim actually adapted Mary Poppins. And an original musical. If you said Oscar Hammerstein II, that was Sondheim's mentor and longtime friend. Yes, indeed, that is the answer. Old friends for eight. Esteban Rio Nido collaborated with this longtime friend and confidant to pen a parody song for The Mad Show. If you guessed Mary Rogers, you are correct. Mary Rogers and Stephen Sondheim were friends and confidants from the time that they were teenagers. Um, so, yes, indeed. Everybody said that the answer to this was The Boy From. The song, the parody song, was actually called The Boy From, parodying The Girl from Ipanema. And the final old friends question. This old friend's surname anagrams to preset. Unscramble the letters, and preset turns into Peters, as in Bernadette Peters, Sondheim's quintessential muse. Moving on to the Chroma Luma category, these are Sondheim's TV projects. TV for two. It originally aired on ABC on November 16th, 1966, as part of the ABC Stage 67 anthology series. This was Sondheim's made for TV musical called Evening Primrose. Chroma Luma for four. Almost every episode of this ABC Suburban series was named after a Sondheim lyric or song title. For example, The Ladies Who Lunch, My Heart Belongs to Daddy, and Finishing the Hat. If you guessed Desperate Housewives, one of my favorites, you are correct. Chroma Luma for 6. In September 2021, Sondheim revealed on The Late Show that he was working on a brand new musical that he hoped to open the following season. What was it called? Sadly, Sondheim passed away just a few months later, but the musical he was working on was called Square One. Chroma Luma for 8. Sondheim appeared alongside Lee Remick on the game show Password. The first password was Squirm, for which Remick offered Wriggle. 19 years later, Remick would find herself wriggling out of her tights during a concert staging of the Sondheim show at Avery Fisher Hall.
The password is squirm.
10 points, Lee. See if you can get Steve Sondheim to say that word.
Wriggle.
Squirm.
You guessed Follies. You were correct. And the song from which the wriggling lyric comes from is Waiting for the Girls Upstairs. And the final question in the Chroma Luma TV category. At 23, Sondheim moved to Los Angeles and wrote scripts for this sitcom along George Oppenheimer. The answer is Topper. Topper was the sitcom. Sondheim penned 10 episodes solo and a handful more with Oppenheimer. The last category is our geography category. Everyone on TikTok loves a good geography category. Here is the $200 question. Boca Raton is famous for its affluent lifestyle, pristine Atlantic beaches, and iconic architecture designed by Addison Meisner. It's also a song in this Sondheim musical. It is Sondheim's musical about the Meisner brothers called Roadshow, also known as Bounce, but Roadshow is the most current title. Somewhere for 4. Named for a summit overlooking the Tappan Zee portion of New York's Hudson River. Also, an unproduced Sondheim musical. This unproduced project was called High Tour. Here's somewhere the geography category for 6. Front Porch in Flatbush is a 1940s unproduced play that inspired this musical, which was supposed to open in 1955 but didn't. It was another 40 years before it opened in London, and even longer before it opened off Broadway. It was called Saturday Night. Here is your $800 geography question. Sondheim lived at 246 East 49th Street. He called this the house that Gypsy built. This woman of the year lived next door at 244. Name his famous neighbor. That would be movie icon Katharine Hepburn. And the final question on the board. Sondheim attended this Quaker boarding school in Newton, Pennsylvania, where he wrote his first musical at the age of 15. The answer to this question is the George School. Okay, as promised, we have one final Jeopardy challenge. As we've gone through the answers, certain letters from some of the answers have formed a final brain buzz. It is a word scramble. Unscramble these words to reveal something that would be apropos to describe Sondheim, I think. If you guessed Maestro, you are correct. Thank you so much for playing. I'm Lauren. I will see you all next week. Please click that subscribe button so you don't miss a game or video.